Okay, we're gonna start letting people in. All right. There we go. Janet's here. Hi, Janet. All right. Looks like it's working. It's working. All right, cool. So, all right. So we're gonna do weekly chat. Hi, Janet Mood. Nice to see you. Can you hear me okay? All right, we got Edward coming in. All right, go ahead and start getting people come in. And there we go. All right. Welcome, welcome one and all to the weekly Zoom Live or weekly live chat. I don't really have a name of Facebook anymore. All right, I see Edward flashing around there. All right, I'll wait for a few people to come in. Oh, there's a couple that are coming. I was hoping Laura Michaels would show up this week. She's always a fun participant. And making sure our phone's off here. All right, good. All right, so this week we're going to be doing great. This week we're going to be talking about a process that we started doing back in 2003. This was something that Joe had been given by the angels years ago. What it is it's a process that we were to go through in order to have the vibrations we needed to hold the first, what we called Metatron event. And this was held in Elgin, Illinois in 2003. And there was exactly 144 participants. And luckily we had that many because in order for, we were receiving these 7 keys of enlightenment. During that time, we would get them as we did some processes, okay? So last week I talked about the more gatherings we do, the more visits we get. Well, also as we accomplish the tasks that they give us, we get more visits and we get, different things. Like this particular time we were getting keys and we received the 7th key. And what had happened was the angels sang to us as we sang to them. They joined us in singing. They were singing, I am the key, we are there, you are the key, we are the key, and we were singing, I am, you are, we are one. So, all right. And just before the event, Joe had a visit from something that he had never had a visit from before. They were called Sephiroth, okay? And if you want to read the visit, it was January 26th, 2003. It was well before the event so that we'd have time to go through the 50 gates. And this is the manual that he had come up with. It's real simple. It's not real fat, and it's got in the beginning it has some instruction on telling you how to get how to use the manual, and it has some pretty interesting stuff in here. It talks about the 7 vibrations of the Malkuth, which is all but 3 of the 10 commandments, which is very interesting. The 10 commandments, from what I understand, aren't really, it was Charlton Heston type of thing, Hollywood kind of made that up. Christianity kind of made it up. When Moses was bringing the people through the desert during the Exodus, he brought them through this thing called the 50 Gates of Enlightenment. Now, if you do some research and you look at, Jewish folklore or Kabbalah or, just ancient stuff, you'll find the 50 Gates. Now, you're not going to find the 50 Gates that was given to Joe by the Sephiroth because it was changed and altered for some reason. I don't know what, well, probably because they didn't want you to know what this stuff was. Okay. And what Moses did was, for a very long time, he brought these people through the 50 gates of enlightenment. And that's why it took them, my estimation is why it took so long for them to get through the desert. When they finally were able to get an amount of people through the 50 gates of enlightenment, he took them to Mount Sinai. He received these vibrations, or these commandments as they call them. But the thing they don't tell you about in the Charlton Heston movie is everybody that was in attendance heard the first three. Okay. The burning bush depiction, we've deduced from the visits and from conversations that Joe had with Michael that the burning bush was actually the Shekinah. It was because the Shekinah looks like a flame, but it also looks like a rainbow, and it's the divine feminine aspect. So anyhow, the workbook is real obtainable. Now, if you want to go through the 50 gates before the event, then you're going to be starting them tomorrow. If you don't have the workbook, obviously, you won't have enough time to get it before then, but you can go through the 50 gates anytime. And it's a 50-day process, okay? So each day you do a gate. Now, each gate has a vibration, and you can use these tuning forks to help you get through them. So if you have the Sephiroth tuning forks, that vibration will help you get through them. And then there's also a CD that used to be floating around. I have one somewhere around here that helps you with the vibrations of each of the gates. Now, what the 50 gates is doing is it's actually bringing you through an introspective journey to yourself. So each time you go through this 50 gates, you become more aware of yourself and where you are on your spiritual path. Which is really important, actually. You know, you kind of want to know where you're at. Everybody kind of knows where they're at, and this kind of puts you into a perspective and helps you along that plane. So in the manual, it talks about getting started and how to go through them. And each day, you know, you kind of want to contemplate it. I do them in the morning. Some people do them at night. I like to do them in the morning so I can contemplate it throughout the day. There's definitely some benefits when you look at this in introspectively. Now, when we first got this, Joe was saying that this is like the best inward bound type journey you could possibly take, and it would be a very expensive course to take if it was done on a professional level, like through LifeSpring or Millennium 2000 or Landmark or any of those groups got their hands on this sort of thing. It would be a really big expense that they would like to charge for it. But anyhow, you can get the manual for, I think it's $50. And again, you can go through this thing over and over. And that's the whole idea, is to go through it over and over, because you're not going to get through all 50 gates the first time. Well, you might. Every blind squirrel finds a nut. But for the most part, we're, most of us, like me, work in progress. I don't know that I've made it through every gate. I know I've made it through some of them, but I don't believe I've made it through all of them, because I just don't feel like I have. Anyhow, I'd like to talk to you about the basic meanings of the vibrations of the Sephiroth, okay? And that's in this, and that's where it talks about the 7 vibrations of the Malkuth, which is actually 7 of the commandments. There were 3 that were made up, they're kind of not really so. But you can find, another thing is, you can find all of the commandments in the 232 laws of Hammurabi. You'll find all of that. You'll find it in the Course in Miracles, all kinds of different, let's see here. Annie wants in, Cindy wants in. Okay, we're letting people in. You can find these things in different schools of thought, like obviously the Bible, the Kabbalah, and the laws of Hammurabi, all that kind of stuff. You can find those things. So I guess what I'll do is, for you to have a better understanding of the 7 vibrations of the Malkuth, I'll go ahead and read them to you if you don't mind listening to me read. I do have my bifocals on so I can see. I'm wearing glasses these days because I can't see very much. Just for some reason, it's just, I can see better with glasses now. I guess getting old does that for you. So the following are some of the basic meanings of each of the vibrations of the Sephiroth. Now, if you look at the Tree of Life, there's 11 vibrations or 11 spaces on the Tree of Life, okay? And these are depicted in that Tree of Life, the Tree of Life, I should say, okay? So there's the Malkuth, the Yesod, the Hod, the Netzach, the Teferet, the Gevurah, and the Chesed. Okay, now if I'm saying them wrong, it's because I don't know. I have sometimes have a hard time with pronunciation of these particular words. And the people I've talked to have different pronunciations of them too. And some of them, they're kind of deep. All right, so the Malkuth is of the physical day-to-day life. It is the sensation of the physical world and all our gifts and traps. And we could choose to work in the spiritual vibrations of the Malkuth or the traps of our humanness in the Malkuth. Commandment for this one is, you shall not covet that which belongs to another. Now, this means that you're not permitted to be jealous of another's good fortunes and respect they hold. Okay, so if you are new to this and you're just now hearing these words for the first time and you kind of remembering back to the 10 Commandments, that's not what they wanted you. They portrayed it as meaning. Okay, so this is the Kabbalah meaning of these particular things. Okay, all right, so the Yesod is next, and this is of the spiritual mental, or what we call the subconscious. This gift is a place of deep knowing, being plugged into the divine will, which is, by the way, devoid of the ego and the Yesod. The trap is thinking we know why, or more than we really do. It is from one of these aspects that we create our realities. The commandment for this one is, you shall not bear false witnesses. This means you are not permitted to say things about someone that is untrue in order to deceive yourself or others through ego. So as you can, totally different meaning than what you would think it would be if you were studying modern day Christianity. A lot of the works in religion are basically an adulteration of something else. At least that's my understanding of it. All right. Next one up is the Hod. It's of the physical mental, meaning the way we think. From this place, we can choose to work from the gift of the thinking process. However, coming from the ego, this vibration, it becomes about personal glory. Bottom line, ask yourself, is it really about the betterment of the world, or is it all about caring for the sake of self? The commandment for this one is, you shall not steal. This means you must not use your knowledge to take unfair advantage or steal that of another. That one's pretty cool. All right. And the Netzach is up next. Okay, this one is of the physical emotional. Now you notice there's, you got your day-to-day life, and then you got your spiritual mental, physical emotional. So these things go together, and it explains it in the book how they go together. Physical emotional, and this gift is the gifts of this vibration. One feels a deep inner desire to do for the world or others. In the trap, it is just the opposite. It is all about how the world feels about you, and it is as if they think you are just the greatest. The commandment for this one is you shall not commit adultery. This means you will not change or contaminate the spiritual truth given or try to gain status for personal power. Okay? So that's what adultery really means, is changing or altering something. Now, in the back when movies first started coming out, in the beginning of the movies, you would see a thing come up and says, this movie was adulterated from its original form, which means they shrunk the thing down to fit your television or fit the screen that it was going on. So they knew what it meant back then, but they just didn't acknowledge it, obviously. All right, next up is Teferet. Teferet is of balance, or what we call being centered in the spiritual. It is from this place that one can know what they see is the real spiritual truth, or it comes from the ego. The commandment for this one is you shall not commit murder. This means that you must not kill the ego or the selfish self before it can grow along spiritual lines. Okay. So you're taming your ego. You're not killing anything really. But you think thou shalt not kill means you're not going to kill somebody physically, you know. No, don't kill your spiritual growth. Don't kill yourself before you grow, you know. It's deep, and you'll go deeper when you go through these things. Right. Next up is Gevura. Gevura is of the spiritual emotional. There's that two-word thing again. Gevura is of the spiritual emotional. The giftedness here is the power to judge or discern the truth about others, as well as yourself in the process of evaluation. In the trap, it is all about how you are judged by others. The commandment for this one is honor your father and your mother. This means you are about honoring those that brought you into the spiritual world and not just your parents, which brought you into the physical world. So now that we know who our spiritual aspects are, that would be our mother, father, God, Shekinah, Metatron in our language in this particular school of thought. So we do have, everything is born out of a male female aspect. Seems to be the case. At least that's how you got here. Chesed next. Chesed is that of spiritual, physical, and in the giftedness, it is unconditional love for everyone and everything. In the trap, it is of unworthiness or of self or others. The commandment for this one is remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. This means you are about the spiritual connection with God and the physical world. Now, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy doesn't mean Sunday or Saturday. Each of the gifts or of the 7 churches of I am, Smyrna, Ephesus, Pergamum, Sardis, Philadelphia, Thyatira, and Laodicea all have a day of the week, a musical note, and a tone vibrating with their essence. And yes, and a musical note. Okay, so I'm as the Church of Pergamum. Their day is Tuesday, so my Sabbath is actually on Tuesday. Okay, looks like Edward's knocking back on the door. Don't know how he got kicked out. Hopefully he is able to get back in. All right. So, each of the churches, like it starts with Sunday, which is Smyrna. Smyrna is Sunday. Monday is Ephesus. Tuesday is Pergamum. Wednesday is Sardis. Thursday is Philadelphia. Friday is Thyatira, and Saturday is Laodicea. And go back to Smyrna again. So the first day of the week is actually Sunday, if you think about it. So there you go. Let's see what else it says. Now that you have an understanding of these vibrations, let's look how they are applied in our lives. If you move through the gates, as you move through these 50 gates, see if there is a flaw in your character. Above all, be honest with yourself. You're not sharing this stuff with anybody, by the way. If you can see the flaw, you will be able to remove it. A flaw in character would be if you lie to yourself about it or just refuse to recognize it. It is a possibility, and it cannot be removed to allow passage through the gate. However, let's face it, we're all human, and in this world we live in, and we cannot be without flaws. Only people that are amoral do not have any flaws. For most, this may be the first time you have ever been given the opportunity to see what is holding you back from being who you really want to be. So, and on the following, then you start in with the first gate. All right, I'll go ahead and reveal what the first gate is. It's list what your teacher has learned from you. Okay, so it gets pretty complicated if you don't know to look within yourself. You're your teacher. Okay, and what have you learned from you? Gabriel said during this time, in this within about a year of this time, he says, we're here to learn a lesson or teach a lesson. So, one of the things that we get to do in this work is really dig in deep. The 50 gates is like some of the deepest work that we're going to be doing with ourselves, for ourselves, and by ourselves. Now, in the beginning, a lot of people wanted to do the 50 gates together. Well, I find it to be a very private thing. Okay, so I don't do gates with other people. I just, it's none of their business, none of my business what they're doing. Okay, so it's like more of a self-inventory, self-reflection, so that you can be authentic with yourself and not have to worry about what other people are thinking about it. It's all about what you think about you. And hopefully you'll come to a point where you're okay with thinking about, with that thought, because we're taught not to think very kindly of ourselves. Okay. So you can think kindly of yourselves. And this is one of the uh, most efficient ways of getting in there and digging into yourself and finding out how you tick. Because you can do it several times a year. It's only 50 days. So, and nobody's watching you and nobody's, taking your, making sure you keep up on it. And it's a self thing. So, if you really want to see where you're at in your spiritual growth, this is a wonderful tool to use. And I merely suggested that we do it before the event this year because it's been suggested before. And I figured, some folks that are new that are coming in would like to know about some of this information and some of the most powerful tools that we have to help us move forward in such a way that we can be a contribution to the world when we get to this place. So, it's really beneficial. You don't even have to be a gathered master to move through these 50 gates. You can, anybody can purchase this manual and use it for spiritual growth. It's like Michael said in the beginning, not everybody that gets exposed to this is going to be gathering. And that's okay, but for the ones that do choose to get gathered and choose to do the other, do gatherings, we have a lot of really beneficial tools to help us come to a place to where we can be with our brothers and sisters and most importantly, the children. So that's really what this is all about, helping ourselves to move into a place where we can be available to create this world that works for everybody. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open her up to questions. You can unmute yourself if you have a question, just pop right in, or you can even text it. Okay. So I'm looking at Cindy and she's oddly looking off. There she is. Hi. She's usually got the most questions. She's got a house full of kids. Okay, got it. So you got kids. So, all right.
I'm perfectly confused about the whole mess.
You're confused about this? What, the 50 gates?
No, the commandments.
Oh,
and the stuff that the commandments. I was raised Christian.
Yeah.
And now I haven't heard the commandments be related to the work. I always thought it was completely separate.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's not. See, if you kind of look at it, you'll notice that Christianity in itself has been taken from a whole bunch of different schools of thought, mostly paganism, if you really want to get down to it, the rituals.
Paganism.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Christmas is a pagan holiday, by the way. So is Easter.
Well,
all of the holidays they celebrate, and even the rebirth of the putting the Christ birth at December 25th, which is very close to December 21st, which is the winter solstice. Okay, so a lot of things are happening. If you look at the Bible, it's just a huge astronomy chart. Really, it's an astronomy story. If you look at the astrology chart, in the center of the astrology chart is in this case, SUN of God, but in the center of the chart of the Christianity one, it's the SON. Okay, and how many constellations is around the Son of God? It has 12 constellations, and it had 12 fathers. So if you look at these things more of a metaphoric thing, metaphorically, you'll see how they relate. Okay, but really, the Bible is a very astrology oriented. If you really get into it.
You're going to have to go into detail another time, because now you're putting astrology.
That's not my school of thought nowadays. I'm studying other stuff, but I did notice the correlation when I was a kid. My aunt actually pointed it out to me when I was a young one. She was more a metaphysical lady, but she really never got into religion and stuff with me, but she did get into the astrology correlation with the Bible. And then if you really want to get into that, look up Achira S. She actually just She passed away a while ago of cancer, but she wrote a book called The Christ Conspiracy, the Greatest Story Ever Sold, and it talked about the 16
Oh,
United
yeah.
Saviors. She also did work with the, what was that? Just a movie that just came out a little while ago. I'm sorry, it slips my mind. Anyhow, they talk about a lot of conspiracy stuff has surrounded this, but she had some really neat studies about the different Christ-like figures throughout history. So anyway,
Mhm.
that's a whole different story that has nothing to do with the 50 gates. So,
Yeah.
but if you are interested, look up Achira S. and the Christ Conspiracy. It's a really good read. I have a copy of it in my library as well.
Hmm,
It's a
interesting.
it's a big fat book, but it's interesting as you go through it. It's kind of a study. So, anyway,
Oh, boy.
getting back to the 50 gates, what this basically is doing is those vibrations that they're talking about and the manner they're talking about them help kind of guide you through each gate. Okay, so you're sort of training your mind and you're training your emotions, and you're also out of that your physical body is being trained, okay, to receive these vibrations as you raise your body's vibration. Okay,
Heck, oh, yeah.
gates, and on the 50th day is the Epiphany. Okay. Now, the original Epiphany date that we had, I believe, was January 9th. I think that was the first time that we had gone through it. And you completed on January 9th, which is Epiphany. So
Yeah.
that was years ago. But Michael has talked about using this book for your benefit on several occasions. And, given that we've been light on visits, and as we have been getting the visits, there's been a lot of interference run by our questions about what's going on around us right now. But
Yeah, I'd like to know that myself.
yeah, you kind of dig into the visit and you'll find that there is a message that they have for us and stuff. So like that last visit we had, Michael wanted us to acknowledge and look at ourselves for what we had created with the Novus Invictus this year. We sent out a lot of light. Well, actually, we didn't send it. We assisted the light this year, which is something we normally don't do. But it illuminated a lot of the problems that are happening on our planet today. And you'll notice if you look at the news, what's going on, it's all illuminated. It's really, then you see all the people trying to scramble together and keep what was going on. They want to put it back together again, but it's obviously Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall and it's broken. So, the masters are in a wonderful position right now because you guys have the ability to alter the course of how things are about to happen. Simply by showing up to the event, you can help alter what it is that's going on. We can bring more love, light, and supportive consciousness into our planet rather than what we've been experiencing in the last however long it's been. It's not been a real fun gig for everybody. So, and particularly certain groups of them, it depends on your background and stuff on how you get treated. The hell's that all about? Everybody was given the same planet for free. This is, by the way, a special planet because you take care of it, it takes care of you, right? So,
Right.
anyhow, the 50 gates is not a real long conversation per se. It's just a long process that we get to go through. Okay. Now, I do recommend, if you do have your master's oil, to use your master's oil as you're going through the 50 gates. Okay. It just helps bring more of a centered vibration to yourself because you're giving yourself the gift of the master's oil, and you're giving yourself the gift of the knowledge of the 50 gates and how you can move through them. Yeah, you're going to get stuck on some gates. Don't worry about that. You're covered there. You're going to get stuck. I know, because I've been stuck on them. I know a lot of people that have been stuck on them, and it's okay. As you start moving, as you start learning more about yourself, the easier it becomes to go through these gates. So, tonight I'm actually switched to water. I've been drinking a lot of water lately. For some reason, I'm craving it towards the event.
You give up coffee?
Bite your tongue, sweetheart. No.
I'm talking.
I'm not giving up coffee. I just Well, coffee's got water in it. I'm just going for more pure water instead of coffee this time. Anyhow, just, it's been warm, that kind of thing. Plus, towards the event, you want to get, all year round, you want to stay hydrated. I mean, I do drink water, not like I drink coffee, but I drink water. But the water I drink is treated with Laminar Crystal Star, which is, it structures the water, changes the pH balance of the water. This glass will fully hydrate my body in about 5-10 minutes. Where, you got to drink water all day long to get hydrated. You drink water with the Star or the Diamond, you get hydrated quicker. So anyhow, there's my quick little advertisement. So any other questions there, Miss Cindy? No? Yes?
Nope,
Okay.
not yet.
Edward, you're always good for questions. I see Ann. Who
That's true.
is that? Annie, and we have an Ann P. I'm assuming that's Ann Polson, and I love her. She's a sweetheart. So, okay. So, like I said earlier, the reason why I brought up the 50 gates is we can do this before the event. Now, if you don't have a 50 gates manual and you do know somebody that has one, have them get as you go. Order it while you're waiting for the gates, just do them. Waiting for the manual. And this tomorrow, the 8th, is 50 days exactly to the formation. And that's why I kind of brought this up, because I'm starting it tomorrow morning. I'm going to be diving in, and then after it's a great time for me to start doing this. I'm going on a mini vacation. We're going sailing this next week. Last year we went sailing with James and Dee Dee and Nadia and TJ and a bunch of other people, and we're doing it again this year. So this is the week we're doing it. We're going to go cruise the San Francisco Bay on a really bitchin' boat. You'll see pictures. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And but I'll be doing gates while I'm going through doing the boat thing. Makes it
Something to do on the boat.
so. Okay, so the visit that goes along with this is in January of 2003. There's a couple visits about it. When Joe was putting together the manual, he was running into a lot of roadblocks because there's not a whole lot of real information out there about the 50 gates. It's actually kind of a secret thing that they have. It's not something they advertise. I'm sure some areas in that particular religion, it is a common knowledge, but that's for really deep religious folks that are in that into Kabbalah. So you'll have to excuse me. I got allergies, so my nose is itchy. I'm not trying to look gross or anything. Sorry. When we first got this thing, there was a lot. We had a lot of people going through it. So there are some people that have been involved in this for a while, and if you know them and you need help getting through it, reach out to people, because then that gets them involved too. I just encourage you guys to at least take a look at it. If anything, go through a few of them and see if it's something you can even sustain, because some people won't even look at some of the stuff that's in here for themselves. It's been a rough waters. We haven't been exactly taught to love yourself, but now this does teach you to do that. So how long have I been talking anyway? 36 minutes. Wow, boy, I talk a lot. All right. So yeah, I think we'll continue doing the chats, and
Send me stuff.
I've actually, this is going into my 3rd year. It'll be 3 years in August that I've been doing them now. I did take about 6 months off. I think it was 5 months, just about 6 months off, just to work on Dave. Not that the chat thing burned me out. I just got busy doing stuff, and some days I'm just going to be out. If I felt like doing something, I go do it. Plus we had that lockdown stuff, and I get a little grumpy, so I don't really want to go grumping on the online there. I get in private. So anyhow, so for those of you just tuning in, we're doing the 50 gates thing. Also, I'd like to bring up, for those of you that are watching the replay, register for the event. I think we're at about 73 right now. We need quite a bit more. I'm sure there's going to be probably about 40 or 50 more signups between now and then. We generally get about an average of 100 to 125 that have been coming for quite a while. And I think that things are going to go really super well this year, especially if we, can get a whole lot of people together.
Send him a dirty joke.
Send them a dirty joke. Are you telling that? No, I'm not right. I'm not reading dirty jokes.
I thought it was on mute. I'm sorry. I'm a dork.
Catch you.
Yes, you did.
James likes to send these corny jokes every week when I was doing the weekly chat on Thursday, and read them out loud, depending on what it is. So, sometimes, kids will stumble in and listen to this stuff, and I'm not going to corrupt your kid. That's your job. It's not mine.
Oh, I did a good job.
So, all right. Well, we'll get some stuff moving here. I am looking forward to the Dallas thing. We're driving out there as a family. My whole family's coming, and basically there's 7 of us. My mother's actually coming. My brother and his wife and his 2 kids, and my wife are going, and I believe we're going to be renting a van. We were looking into an RV, but that looks just, I could put a down payment on a house for that, or even a down payment on an RV. We were looking into an RV. It's just really expensive. We could just buy one and resell it for, that would make sense. But driving a van and staying in a hotel sounds a lot more comfortable than RV. But anyhow, it's not like we're camping. Plus, we're not going to get to go on vacation directly afterwards. This time, we're going to come home first, and then we're going on vacation after. Normally, I'll leave with my RV and tool around and stuff like that, but my RV's down still, and I haven't gotten around to getting that. I just haven't had time to do it. I'm doing the inside of it first, and I'm going to do some of the outside work, and then I'm going to get the engine or the transmission replaced. It's fairly simple procedure. I just have some things I want to do to it before I take it back out on the road again. I'm going to customize it a little bit, make it a more comfortable environment. So, plus, it's a classic. It's a '91 Toyota Winnebago Warrior, so it's not something you can find every day, and they're actually very desirable right now. So even in the shape it's in, I'm still getting people going, "Hey, you want to sell your rig?" No, I'm not selling my rig. So I might get another one though. Thinking about it, not another Toyota, but a bigger rig. So, and of course, all the time my son calls. Boy, love you. All right. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys this year. We're going to get to meet some new people this year. And some folks are going to be getting gathered at the event. And hopefully we'll have, a little bit more of a turnout than we did last time. But last time we had 151 people. And that sweet spot, that magical number is about 222. And any number that we get above that 222 is just a major bonus for everybody on the planet. So,
Okay, Teach.
what do you got?
I thought the number didn't make any difference now.
Well, no, it doesn't make it, it's not the end all be all.
Well,
There's a vibration. Okay, so each year, the amount of people that come to the event contribute to a vibration that we're creating. Okay. Into the world. So the more people you have in that place doing that thing, the more vibration is able to reach outwards.
Gotcha.
So it's like a candle compared to a bonfire. Okay. If you only have 150 candles out there, it's not nearly as warm as a bonfire. You know what I'm saying? So,
True. Yeah.
And the more the merrier, and you'll see as you get closer to the event, you'll feel the build up. I'm sure you guys have already, if you committed going to the event, you'll notice that there's stuff coming up in your life and energies that you can notice. It starts the second you commit to going, and when you register or enroll, vibration is created by that. And as you start preparing to go, like setting up your transportation to and fro, and you're setting up your room, or wherever you're going to be staying, those things shows more level of commitment to the universe, and obviously you're feeling that vibe.
Mhm.
So be wise about it. Don't just don't get too caught up in that energy and stuff, and get yourself there. The more the merrier. So
Yeah.
at some point we will be getting to a larger number. Don't know when that time is. That's up to you guys, the masters that are doing the gatherings. The more gatherings, the better. Each time we do a gathering, 7 more people are added to the boom. And each time we do a gathering, we let them know about the events and why we're doing this gathering, so that we could come together as a unit. Because in order for us to be able to do the formation, you need to be gathered. And it works out a whole lot better if you're gathered before the event, because then you're not of being gathered at the event, which a lot of folks miss a lot because they get gathered at the event, and it's not any fault of their own. It's just there's a lot going on. So
Yeah.
anyhow, so as transparent as we can be about this event and what's happening there, the better everybody's off. The better off everybody is, because we kind of have an idea of what we're getting ourselves into. You don't want to be broadsided by this huge energy stuff. That's going to do one of two things: either make you real super happy or not make you real super happy. So
Yeah.
it happens. Who's that? Edward? Oh, you're chiming in. Did you?
Yep, it's me.
Push the button on accident? Good touching it. But you're that kid. I know who you are.
Yeah, pretty interesting. And especially I feel like they should be gathered beforehand. That way they know what to expect.
Well, yeah, it helps. But
To the gathering, they're gonna get it hard with a really big energy.
My son is coming this year. He's already trained.
But he hasn't been gathered yet. See,
No, he hasn't.
That is the reason why we're doing the gatherings at the event since 2005, I believe. It was the Hiawassee, Georgia event at Enoda that we started doing them, is because it's in the beginning stages, it's going to be difficult to find a gathering.
Yes.
It's especially now when it's not happening every weekend like it was there for a while. I mean, there was Colorado was on fire, Utah was on fire, Illinois was on fire, Washington, Spokane, Washington. There was dozens of gatherings in all those places. I said Chicago, didn't they? Up there where Cindy is up in the Minnesota, Wisconsin region.
Behind the Cheddar Curtain?
Behind the Cheddar Curtain, they got it. We had some gatherings in New York. We've had gatherings in Florida. We've had them in Georgia.
And there's one happening at Serenity Rocks right now.
Sweet.
We'll have another one with that one shortly. I believe they're gathering in Sunday.
Nice. Yeah, well, it's a 3-day thing. In the beginning, they wanted to cut it down and take stuff out and add things to it. And I was like, this is what they do. It's a 3-day gig, basically. As well as the event is only 4 days, because we basically settled for that. It should be a 7-day trip, but the masters are willing to give up come out for 4 days. Me, I'd go out there every day of the week if they asked me to. So
Exactly.
it's really, you can visit some of the places that we've had the event. You can still feel the energy. I'm very fortunate to have the one right close by here. We had one in Reno, Nevada at the Pepper Mill. Every time I go to Reno, I will stop at the Pepper Mill because, it's open 24 hours. And I'll sneak my way into the room that we had in there, and I'll check the energy. And sure enough, that stuff's still the same as it was the day we put it. So, so anyhow, what we did was the first 9 events were basically building the Gate of Grace. We started up in the north in Elgin, Illinois, and down to the south in Austin, Texas, over to the southeast in Hiawassee, Georgia, to the southwest in Colorado, Estes Park, Colorado, and then up to the northeast in Deer Creek, Ohio, and then the northwest in Yellowstone National Park, and then over in Virginia Beach, Virginia for the in the very east for the eastern position, and then for the very west we did Reno, and then in the center we did Arkansas, which is Crystal Springs, Arkansas, and then we started doing the Children of Light. So basically, you're living in a huge gate of grace on this continent, by the way. So there's always that.
Mhm.
Now, Michael called them the boundaries of Eden. I don't know what he means by that, but that's where it will be contained in and where it will come from in that general area.
Interesting.
So coming up, hopefully we'll start learning more about some of the things that we have available for us, like the halls of healing that haven't materialized as of yet. There are 7 halls of healing in different places in the US. That hasn't really yielded anything yet. It was just
We're muted.
so.
So I got a question. How many people overall have been gathered so far?
Well, a few years ago, Michael said over 4,000.
Oh, nice.
So, I'm estimating probably
Stop.
400 people, we were having, like you saw, if you look at the gathering list on angelicgate.com, you'll see that we were having gatherings all the bloody time. And we stopped looking at those, or she stopped documenting those at about 2005, I think. 2009, 2009. So, and that was number 370. I'm sure there's been a lot more since then. Not a whole lot more, but there have been quite a few more. Plus the gatherings at the event, there are several people gathered each event. So like last year, I think we had almost a dozen people gathered. So or a little over a dozen. We had more than a dozen, because we had a couple full groups. So probably 20 or 30 people a year getting gathered. It depends on who's showing up, this year in Dallas, it's hard to say, because usually when people register, they'll let us know if they're gathered or not. And so far, I haven't really heard much of, who's getting gathered there. Usually they tell me who's getting gathered, because I'm the guy that helps them do the gatherings.
I guess we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and this is going to be my first one, actually.
Awesome.
I've been gathered already. So this is my first big grand gathering.
You could describe it kind of like you would describe a Grateful Dead concert. There ain't nothing like a Grateful Dead concert. And there ain't nothing like a Children of Light conference. The energy is so different than anything you've ever experienced, well, maybe some folks have experienced pretty cool energies. I can't say that they haven't experienced it, but not like this. Now, what we're doing is something that's never been done in the history of ever. We're bringing something into being that has not been before. So, and then we have to recreate something that was. So, we had Eden. We were given Eden. Now we have to, bring it back.
Go find it.
Yep. Oh, it isn't far. It's not far, like Michael said. It's just outside the door. It's right, not far from where you are. So, you just need to. It's like talking to your angel. You need to know where to look. You need to know how to listen.
Yes.
This year is going to be a very interesting year, because we're going to be learning something very cool, which is your life's purpose. You may be doing your life's purpose. You don't know. Maybe you're getting reassurance of what you're already doing, or maybe you're not happy with what you're doing, and there's a reason why.
Yep.
Met a lot of people that were not doing what they were supposed to be, what they came here to do. Now, it's supposed to be sounds so, I don't know, punishment.
Exactly.
Punishment for not doing what you were born to do.
Send
You
them
just get
another one.
it the next time you're born, So
I guess apparently for me, I'm supposed to bring energy healing into the basketball.
basketball?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm doing right now. I'm bringing Eastern Medicine tuning forks into the ABA basketball league and the PBA basketball league.
Nice. Yeah, when I lived in San Jose, my brother and I had a studio in the back of the house. Our garage we turned into a studio where we actually performed healing work and taught and all kinds of cool stuff. And we had gotten a couple very large customers, and they were all, and they kept
Nice.
sending us their friends. They turns out we're not into sports, so I didn't know who the heck these people were. They were hockey players for the San Jose Sharks. There were probably 8 or 10 of those guys, and then we got introduced to the San Francisco 49ers and did a bunch of work up there for them a few times. That
Oh,
was
wow.
I'm not into sports, but I mean, I'll go hang out if I'm getting a free ticket to go, I'll go. Why not? But I'm not gonna turn on the TV and watch it. But, I like music much better. If Jerry's on the box, I'm home free. You know what I'm saying? So bit of a deadhead over here. I like Jerry.
Oh, bit?
I think Jerry. We have both kinds of music. We have the Grateful Dead and the Jerry Garcia band here. So both kinds.
Mhm.
Music's really important in life.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim is waiting patiently.
Oh, did he text me something? Because I'm not looking at that. Page.
No, I know.
Hang on. Oh, I see one here. Hang on.
Hey.
Did you get it? No.
Mm,
Okay, here's Jim's joke. Weekly corn. All right. Did you know that milk is the fastest liquid? It's pasteurized before you see it.
Yeah.
What?
I don't have Carol here to tell me if it was funny or not, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Some of them are pretty good eye rollers.
Wait till you meet my husband.
He's a kick in the pants.
Yes, he is.
He's a fun guy.
I got my one client with me right here.
Sweet.
Hey, Alan, say hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I can't really
Yeah, I'm also a caregiver, and this is my wonderful client.
Hi.
Wonderful. Yeah, my wife used to do the home health care thing. We have a lot of home health care workers in our area or in our repertoire here.
Yeah, I'm not
Bye.
sure you
Got
what
to
is
go.
drawing right now.
It's okay.
That's for the heck of it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna
Oh,
go ahead. If there's no other questions about the 50 Gates thing, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap her up. It's been just about an hour. I want to take up everybody's evening. And plus, if I keep it around an hour, it doesn't take 2 hours to download.
Well, perfect time. It's 5:55 right now.
Oh, wonderful. Happens twice a day, just like 444 and 1111, twice a day. Every day. Every day.
Exactly.
So, well, I hope you guys are having an awesome week, and we're going to see you next week. And we'll have a different conversation, and I don't know what I just did. Okay, cool. Next week, we'll have a different subject, or if you guys have something you want to talk about, or for me to explain, or whatever, if I can. Some things I can't explain, some things I don't understand.
Well, then,
See you next week.
how did the conversation with Michael started? How did it all
We'll have to
start?
read Blessings, Gifts, and Deeds to see that. It's
Okay.
Blessings, Gifts, and Deeds, and the conversation with Michael started in that.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, his first conversation was done back in the 60s when he was on a boat on a ship that was sinking, the Forrestal. It's in the book, it's in the first chapter. It's pretty interesting. I've actually met some people that were on the Forrestal, and ironically, my dad, my biological father, was on the, I believe he was on the Independence or the Coral Sea. I can't remember which one of those two. And they went to help rescue the Forrestal. So anyhow,
Oh, wow.
my dad was involved with Joe many years before I was even thought of. He helped rescue that boat, so he was inadvertently involved with the guy. So, all right. So next week we're going to go ahead and do Friday again at 5. So tell your friends, tell your family, and if they can't make it for the 5 o'clock one to ask questions and be a part of it, then they could catch the replay afterwards. So we have a YouTube page called The Grand Gathering, and it's on YouTube. And some of the chats I've done are on there. Not all of them. I've got probably a good year's worth to upload that I haven't uploaded yet. But you can also go through the video section on the Gathered Masters page, Children of Light, on Facebook, and touch the video, and it'll pull up all the videos that I've done in the past year or two. So, and the subjects and everything's in there too. So hope to see you next week, and
Dave,
things moving. Thanks for coming, Cindy, Janet, Edward, and is that Annie?
yeah, I have a question for you, dear.
Okay. Hi. Annie.
You said you were studying the 50 gates for the last 3 years?
Studying them?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Did you say you were doing them you've been working on them for the last 3 years? Or did I not? What were you doing?
Oh, no, I haven't done the 50 gates in a couple 2 or 3 years. We first started doing them in 2003 when we got the workbook. This workbook was printed in 2003.
Okay, no,
Every
okay.
2 years you do them. Now I did it, I did it 2 years ago when Michael suggested that we do it, and I just really have not taken the time to do it until now. And the reason why I brought it up is because, well, we're doing an event, and it also, every time you go through the 50 gates, you learn a little bit more about yourself.
Yep. No, and then I totally was not listening correctly then. You
Oh, no
said
problem.
it was 2-3 years you've been working on blah, blah, blah. So I thought you meant the 50 gates.
Oh.
And so I put in the chat, I was wondering if you were doing it through a rabbi or just your own studies. Never. So I got confused.
Oh, I did study with a rabbi many years ago, many years ago. But
Awesome.
Joe got this from the Sepharel. It's nothing that you would find with a rabbi. However, if you could get a hold of one, pick their brains. Those guys are smart.
I'm a Jew and I have a rabbi.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So that's
recently
why
found out
I was curious because I would get the manual and then I would do my compare contrast, and because we have to work on it.
Wonderful.
So is there gonna be like another advanced version of the tuning fork book in the future?
Book for the tuning forks?
Yeah, like another one.
Probably not. No. We do, I teach
You
courses.
have one already?
It's just a manual.
It's very successful.
I'm sorry.
Edward, do you already have one?
Yeah, I have the main one already. I was wondering whether
Yeah.
there's gonna be any more in the future.
The one you have then is fabulous.
Yep, it is.
I'm confused. A book on tuning forks or the manual?
I meant the manual. I was wondering if there's gonna be any more, like in the future, or there'd be like a more.
Probably if he's gonna
Based on-
reprint it again or redo it, it's because we've gotten more forks.
Okay.
But it's just basically the manual is just sort of a thumbnail sketch of how to use them. Way back when we were getting these vibrations, Michael said to play with them and see what they do, and you can't really hurt anything with it unless you hit somebody with them or drop it on your foot.
There's lots of resources out there for AccuTuning. You know, it's just the manual you have is a great foundation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, the AccuTuning manual that Joe created, he created on purpose for that purpose. And there are other people that do associate those things. They're not the same thing. There's other
Right.
tuning fork companies that do different vibrations that are not the same things as us. So,
Yep. Focus on the one you have, and it's a great foundation.
it's
I'll
perfect
do that.
foundation. If you just do this chakra tunings, that right there, I've got, geez, I just heard from one of my first students that I taught, I think it was about 15 years ago, and she's still, all she does for a living is she tunes chakras. That's all she does.
Well,
Nice.
and Tibetan bowls do that too. I have all the Tibetan bowls. It
Yeah.
is very
Well,
successful.
I could put the thing of chakra forks in my front pocket of my jacket and walk around and go do them anywhere. The bowls, I got to pack them up in boxes and carry them around.
Oh,
Exactly.
but if you get every octave of the bowls. It's just,
I have a set of the crystal bowls, and I do have a few Tibetan bowls. But anyhow,
Yep,
these
yep.
are a different thing. This is a whole different thing. We're doing these for a different purpose.
well, exactly. You AccuTune versus sound baths. So,
There's no
Yeah.
verse, there's no comparison to the two. This is completely different than anything you're ever gonna find out there. It's just the way it is, you know?
And I'm almost done getting a spot to finally do my session, so I can start tuning the players.
Nice, yeah. You can, well, the reason for the tuning forks is you can just do it right there while you're there, you know?
Exactly. I mainly use Genesis Fork, and so far I've been healing their hands, their feet, their legs, their backs, all that stuff. And it's pretty, the Genesis Fork has been pretty successful
Excellent. Well, keep
with
it
all
up.
that stuff.
Keep it up. Remember, the more you use the forks, the more you memorize them. So, and what Michael said was to master them. You know, keep playing with them, keep playing with them, keep doing stuff with them, you know?
And I just got a new device I'm planning on using with it as well. It's called a Healy. It's like a frequency device, so I'm planning on using both.
Yeah, that's that new Healy thing that people are going gaga over. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot
that
of those things come and go. So there's, I, as far as me goes, I just do the stuff that we've learned over the years. It's easier for me to stick to one thing. You know, there's a whole lot of things out there, but this really works for me, and that's where I'm going with it. You know,
Exactly. That's
so
why I'm planning on doing both.
yeah. Hey, you know, there's always something out there. There's a lot of stuff out there, and some things are fun to
Yep,
do.
there is.
Some things, you know, there may be some cheese down that hole. You never know. You don't know until you go down it. All right,
Yep.
so we're gonna go ahead and reconvene next week at 5 o'clock, and we'll have a different subject and possibly a guest speaker. I've been talking to somebody that might have some time to come and hang out with us for a few. That's been doing the work for some time. Anyhow,
Yep. Any chance you can try to bring Rick up to be guest speaker?
I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to Rick about that yet. Never even thought. No, he had any interest. I never see him online or anything, so it's hard to tell.
Okay, I'll try to get a hold of him and tell him to message you.
Well, he's gonna be teaching this year at the event, so I don't wanna get involved. I don't wanna mess up that for him, you know, have him have.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
something about it there at the event. Maybe we'll have him afterwards for follow-up stuff. That sounds like.
Okay.
sense. Excellent. All right, kids. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get my stuff moving here, and we'll go ahead and reconvene next week at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And as always, my blessings, my gifts, and my deeds are.
Bless you.
Bless your hearts. Have an awesome week, kids.